was having a problem plugging in my mic on that thing, and I was like, oh no, I'm running out of time. Oh man, it's still chilly out here. It's not getting any warmer. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Kart Racer Live. I think that's what I'm still calling it. I think it's already loaded in there. That's so, I don't know. It's a catchy name, I guess. Carrying on the tradition of Wesley and I back when we were doing that. Hopefully that mic is working. Yeah. So, what is new, everyone? And by everyone, I mean the one person that's in here. I got some new boots, and I got some other goodies. Well, I guess I'll wait to check that out. Did I save? What did I do with that paper? I put it somewhere. Maybe it's in the thing. Got some mini gears finally. I will be installing them, not because I'm racing anytime soon, but I'll be installing them because I want to install them. I put out that post on Facebook a little bit ago, and I had some offers and some people saying, hey, let me go through stuff, but I had Team Hayden, I believe. Hayden? I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. What's going on, Alan? They came through for me. And I got that. I paid for them and got them shipped out, and now I have mini gears. Yay! I won't get to experience them until next spring, but I have mini gears. Very, very happy about that. I got, for those of you curious, mini gear hub, and I got the. That's the. Got sold the tuck and run. So I think I have like 44 or 45 to 56. Now, I have thought about this, and I'm going to have to bring, if I choose to come off the mini gears at my local track, I'm going to have to carry the big hub, and I'll just not take the gears out of the trailer, the standard gears. So I have 57 through, 65 or 67, whatever I have. But my intent for the bull rings, I know that I've been told that same lap times, just I guess Kyle Pease was telling me that he was turning the same lap times on it was a 1056, 1054, something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'll have to figure out the gear ratio. Maybe it's 54 or 53, somewhere in there. Anyway, I mean, you can run it with standard, but the entire intent was to lighten up everything, which I want to do maybe I'll pop that off. Maybe I'll do a video on just weighing. I'll put like a 57 tooth on the standard hub, and then I'll put the 56 tooth on the mini light and get a weight on there just to show the difference in weight. But yeah. Yeah, ideally that'd be cool. I don't have a spare axle. I'd have to buy another one, and it won't be too bad. I mean, I'm looking at the back of the cart now. If I pop the axle and just take off that hub, I have the right side of this. I'll call it a slip. I don't lock both sides. I only lock the one side. So that allows the rail to move. I had heard that somewhere, and I just always kind of did it, with the exception of my open. My open, I lock the axle completely on both sides just to make sure it doesn't move because there's a lot of horsepower, a lot of weight. But to pop off the right side hub and rear cassette, that will just slide off, and then I can shoop and take the hub off, and it'd be really easy to replace even at track if I decide to do it because I only run like one, maybe two classes with a clone. But my intent is I got to get a 10-tooth driver yet, and my intent is to try it because I want to feel the difference. But yeah, that's super pumped about that. What is going on, everyone? Set up only. Yep. Switched to minis last part of the season. Takes a little time to figure them out. RPM drop. Yeah, no doubt. The game proper tooth is different. Yeah. So what's going on? I'm just curious whether it's faster or not. I wanted them for like I fully intend on. I fully intend. My intent, I'll say that, is to go to Selins Grove again, and instead of running, what was I on, like a 15. The heck did they say? A 1558 or something like that. That I'll get a 13 driver for that track and be able to be on that, because ratio is ratio. I totally hear you. Everybody has said it and this and that, but they definitely. I think that you're splitting hairs with horsepower, and obviously the draft was something, but there was something about the way they took off that I think that two-tooth drop on the clutch was a thing, and experimentation. I won't know for certain until I feel it again. I still remember what takeoff felt like, what it felt like on that track. So between the titanium clutch and the mini gears, I think that I'm going to gain quite a bit, so I won't be as far off on, say, the horsepower aspect, which I don't think it was engine. I think it was all drivetrain, things like that. Not saying you can't do it, but the only way to learn is to experiment. Where is everybody racing this weekend? I am racing nowhere, that's for certain. It is cold, and if I were to drive south, I could. I found out they're quick. Yeah, absolutely. And that was a big thing. Like, I know I was tail of the pack at Selins Grove, but I would literally be wide open from the flag stand, catching the tail of the pack to the restart, single file start or restart, and as soon as they went, I could see them just jump, and I'm like, something. Are you running the Nationals in baseball? No, I won't be. That's quite the haul. I've been down to Mississippi one time. We raced at, oh shoot, what was that track called? Oh, it's got a funky name. We did the Nationals there. As soon as it pops in my head, I'll let you know. We ran. I raced in Mississippi one time. Big track, big quarter-mile track. Is normally a dirt car track, but we had gotten it for the Grand Nationals. The Rylan and Alan are going to Talladega this weekend. That's going to be super cool. Burris race. Very cool. 10-year-old nephew's first race went great. 8/10 off the lead guy. I was way off on gear. Can't wait to make the changes and see improvement, especially all in all. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, you're very welcome. I try and help. I'm not always right, but at least I try and point everybody in the general right direction. Like, some things I just don't know about, some tracks I've never been to, but I try and teach the basics, so it at least points somebody in the right direction. I can't get you all the way there, but getting somebody, so they're not just, they show up to the track and they go, "Whoa, I don't know what to do here." I'm probably taking the rest of the year off. Yeah, I saw you on your tree stand. We got, I think it's 8 days up here till to rifle and shotgun starts. Only reason I know is my coworker took a week off, which is, it's fine. I think his brother's coming down from Vermont, and I was like, "Isn't the hunting better up in Vermont?" And he's like, He's like, "Yeah and no." He says everybody travels up there, and I'm in the body shop business, so you can tell over the years there was always a lull during the summer, we'll say, of deer hits and stuff like that. And for the past, we'll say 5 to 10 years, it's been up, because I think the amount of hunters is down in New York. So that increases the deer population, which increases business for me, which is, it's good, but it's also like, ah, man, I definitely think it could provide families with meat rather than me having to repair people's cars, but it is what it is. Add a cushion and sticker if gravity was optional. That's okay. The suggestions on YouTube are weird. Help until they get, yeah, exactly. It won't be a long story, but a buddy, Ron O'Neill, and he drives for another friend, Sean Piquet. And years ago, that when we're running down to AMS, they ran, Burris, they ran treads, and they didn't have much experience with Vaggy yellows. Well, on an open at AMS, Vaggy yellows are indispensable. So I gave them some pointers of what to put internally, what to wipe externally, and then Ron ended up beating me at that race, and I think he ended up winning the Northeast Divisional that year. And they had said something to me about, oh, thanks for all the help, and I said, you're cut off. You're I not only got him to my bumper, I got him to pass me, and I was like, oh, too much. I went too far. My first time using mini gears, I got a lot. Yeah, me too. That's I know it's it's not a new revelation. Mini gears have been around for many a moon. But I've never had them. I've never, I've ran an open, so there's almost zero reason to even run them on an open. Man, if I ran, the biggest gear I have is for the Bama is a 28 tooth driver, and it's 2-to-1 on the engine. So I'd be able to run like a 2844 or something like that. I could run on like a half mile easy, maybe even bigger than that, and still be in my RPM range. What you call the rut makes more bucks go crazy. The chase does. Lose their common sense. Yeah, that's even that. So there's a debate around here. Like, oh, you go slower on the back roads. Well, the woods. I live out in the boonies. If nobody's been to Western New York, we are the countryside. We have some highways coming through here and there. We got one called 390, which goes right by me, but most of it is just regular roads. Well, the woods essentially come. It's either farmland or corn and stuff like that, or woods that come right up to the edge of the road. Well, even doing in a 55, you're doing 60, 61, give or take. They come out of nowhere, and that's where a majority of them come. Now, when you get on the highway, you're doing 65 on the highway, you're doing 70 to 75, give or take. When you hit them, it makes a bigger mess of your car and them, but there's fewer of them because there's fencing on the side of the highways there. So I always take the highways. Yes, it's possible to hit a deer there, and yes, you do see them, but not nearly as much as the side roads. The side roads are serious, man. It's they just come out of nowhere. My brother-in-law lives like 10 minutes from me, and it's Route 63 that takes you there. And I am on a knife's edge every time I go there. I am just like 10 and 2, paying attention. I try not to drift off. I might be listening to music or stuff, but I mean, I'm focused, especially during dusk. Like during the day, you got a pretty good chance of missing them. Nighttime, it's iffy, but dusk, man, that is serious. That's they come out of nowhere. I've hit one or two, but nothing major. And one of my trucks, I did have like a whole slew of them come across the road. I used to live out in even more country. I live in a little town now, but I lived out in the country, like 10 minutes away from here, up on the hill. And I braked. I was evading, and I used to drive a Caravan, and I mean, one just right in the side of my Caravan, and I popped out the inner panel and just to the boot and pushed the corner paddle back out. It was a good one, but up until that point, I had never hit a deer. Only a deer had hit me, and then I think we're going back to home from town here going grocery shopping or something like that, and I hit a deer with I had a '99 F-150, and didn't hurt the truck at all. Like I got woed down enough, but it definitely sent it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go home and get my what do I want to call it on here? My wireless hole puncher, and I went and got that, came back, and it was gone. I thought it was a goner or near a goner, and came back and intent of putting it out of misery, but apparently it was just shook it off like, oh, the heck was that, and then ran off into the woods. No indoor races for me. Now I have an offer to run Syracuse indoor on an open, a 4-stroke open. The New England Kart Supply. Yeah, my buddy up there, they come all the way down from New England. They love indoor stuff. They're really good at asphalt and stuff like that. I've had an option for the past couple of years to actually pilot one of those things, but I don't want to say it was a bad experience. I did not have a good time last time I raced indoor cork syrup. It was on my 125 sedan, give or take 50 horsepower. I came off, and I must have held my breath the entire race. I don't know why I did that. The cart wasn't handling horrible bad, but it just, indoor Coke syrup, not my thing. Like, if we ever get an indoor dirt event throughout the winter, even if it's cold, I got a heater, I got stuff to make make that happen. But Coke syrup doesn't. I've done it probably 3 times, and every time I've come out of there not loving it. I enjoy going and watching the races. I enjoy seeing all the guys. I will do. It's always the first weekend in December. Capera, I can't pronounce the name, but it's at Syracuse. It's Syracuse, New York. I'll go up and watch and hang out with friends and get some video and this and that. But my desire to run it is slim to none. I mean, I have tires for it. I have a cart for it. I have the clone. I could do it. I just don't have a desire to do it. I'm so used to having the entire winter off that, But if there ever a dirt series ever pops up that's within reaching distance of me that I don't have to drive 10 hours to, if it's in New York or PA or something like that, if a indoor dirt event pops up, I'll be there. And if they have an open class, I might be on my open, but even on dirt, I'd run dirt indoors on dirt. And how many times I say dirt there? Have I ran a track that has calcium? Yes, quite a bit. I should do a video on that, honestly, for people that have never run a calcium track, because there's stages to a calcium track that some people just aren't used to. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The first time I ever ran a calcium track actually was Possum Kingdom, if you can imagine how big that track is. And all I heard was how much grip it has. Well, we went out and practiced, and I saw him sprinkle the calcium, and I sent it in the corner as hard as I could. I was back on the open. It was a Fred Jackson Memorial race. And calcium takes a while to come in, and it retains moisture in the clay and the dirt. It keeps the track together. It also builds fantastic bite, but it takes a while for it to come in. Like, the first time you go out, it's usually pretty greasy. Something about the binding process and what have you. You may find yourself, don't let practice fool you. If you go out and it's greasy, don't start throwing, if somebody has suggested gear ratio for you, don't start throwing teeth to it. Don't start, getting crazy with air pressures or anything like that. Don't chase the track, because it will, like a light switch, it will change. And then it'll grip up, and you're just like, holy smokes. Now, since then, I've run on quite a few calcium tracks, some here in New York, all the way down, down south to different tracks. And when the light switch goes off, when it goes grip, it will just start taking rubber like nobody's business. Now, there's a balance between, if you're prepping, if you're not prepping, depending on what tire you're on. If it becomes a prep line, that can happen on regular dirt even without calcium. But if people are they're not having that grip, if they made the mistake of chasing the track and they just start goating the crap out of their tires, it's going to lay down a lot of rubber and a lot of prep, and you're going to find that you can get a chemical slide. So your chemical isn't matching what is on the track. So it's very tricky. It's definitely a different experience. But it's fun to experience. To be like, man, the track is off, and then all of a sudden, holy smokes, you're just pinned to the right side of the cart, and away you go. Oh, hello from Minsk. That's pretty cool. Unless I had a globe in front of me, I would have a hard time telling you where Minsk is. But that's awesome. I haven't heard that name of that place in a long time. Do it, you'll have a blast. Yeah. Make some fast. Told not to prep. Yeah. Especially, so for instance, the going to Talladega, it's a Burris race, I believe. And Burris are they're a science all their own. There's a lot that goes into date codes, tire depth, how thin or thick your tread is, if they're cut, they're not cut, they're flat cut, they're round cut. But honestly, when a track bites up, especially when a track bites up, Burris, you can load a Vega tire with a lot of prep and not drop the durometer crazy. Now, it sounds weird. I think that Burris react to prep almost too good. Like you can oversaturate a Burris 33, for instance, very easily. Now, sometimes you want that, but on a hard, fast track that, during the daytime that has been calciumed, it's going to, like I said, that light switch is going to happen, and you're not going to want to prep the tire. I have gone out dry, but people tell you blue tire wash, in my opinion, because it is leaving behind the DRT. It has a somewhat of a degreaser type of effect to it, but not as crazy. It's not pulling the oil out of the tire, but it is allowing the tire to be dry. Whatever, alcohol or whatever's in it. But it's leaving behind the DRT, the dirt repelling technology. It's not dropping the duro. It's keeping the tire as it is, but protecting it from loading up with dirt and stain. But yeah, if you start wiping too crazy on a Burris, especially on a hard, hot, fast track that's been calcium, you can find yourself starting to peel the edge pretty easy, starting to get locked down, starting to feather the tire really bad. That's where, people will say if you're on 2025s, they're going to say they're too new. You want a 2024 or something like that. Burris in itself is a science. That's why you hear of these teams having, umpteen million sets of Burris in their trailer for that reason. Now, you can, sometimes you can get away with one set, but general rule of thumb is you're not supposed to run the same tire twice, but that's caveated with if you're wiping. I think that the prep that's going to be on the track, because people are going to wipe prep, is going to affect the tire a little bit, but a lot of people say don't run Burris more than one run. I don't absolutely agree with that, but then again, I'm no Burris guru. The tracks up here do not, with the exception of Weed Sport, do not require crazy prepping, in my opinion. But yeah, the wash is, I've seen it done to Maxxis too. That at the track, just hit them with, you torch in. Say torch in. I'd say just warm the tire up. I've been told by a reliable source, aka the guy who created the blue tire wash, that torching it in doesn't do anything. But, people do it. It works. Monkey see, monkey do. Why not? I'd say warming the tire and drying the tire is probably a better bet. But, I mean, you can torch it in if you want. I don't think, I think you're going to destroy the DRT component of it, but it's going to still clean the tire and leave it pretty plain. Wiping Burris. Yeah, that's and the Burris are really reactive to the very aggressive preps. So on a typical night, we'll say, for instance, I might only wipe the AMS that I go and run. I might only wipe once, maybe twice, depending on what kind of bite I want. And you can basically, I've always found a Burris to be, if you wipe, you're wiping to bring the tire in. You're not wiping to saturate the tire so you're on prep the entire time. You're just trying to ignite the process in which that tire binds to the surface. But yeah, track conditions, areas, calcium, no calcium. There's so many variables, especially with Burris. Then I won't say especially Burris. I mean Maxxis, everything. Yeah. What's going on? And hello, Bill Sear. How's it going, sir? What's going on, man? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So there's more people in here. I have mini gears. I mentioned it before, but yeah, I got mini gears. I got a hub. I got a gear guard. Got the tuck and run system. Here's a 54. Ooh, pretty. Super pumped about it. Just because it's new to me stuff. Team Hayden. I feel bad that I don't know Haddon or Hayden. Were able to hook me up, and I appreciate everybody that answered me on that post. If anybody sees a good deal, I ended up with a really good deal. So I was super pumped on that. I'm definitely, obviously, going to be doing a video on mini gears. I've mentioned them before, but I think, now that I have them, it's going to give me some experience with them. I get to, mount them, see what they look like, obviously compare some weights and stuff like that. So it's, it's content, creating content. I like the tire wash helps reactive, previous applied prep, but I could be wrong. I've never remember. I guess I just Northern Tire. They run it down south, Talladega. That's Alabama, right? Talladega, Alabama. Pretty sure. There are some tracks that really, I know it's closed now, but Dumpling Valley was a pure clay red track, and Burris were lights out faster and everything else. I went down there for the Nationals. I couldn't even tell you what year it was. I'm looking at my thing. Was it 15, 17, somewhere in there? Went down there then, and I think I've told this story before, but with the exception of Paradise up here, I always ran Vega Yellows for the longest time. I was a Vega guy. I had Vega stickers all over. I love the tires, and I still do. And I went down there with the intent of, if Burris are fast, then I'm going to run Vega Yellows, and they're going to be faster. Well, it was 2 seconds a lap faster just switching to Burris. Crazy. Something about the rollover of the tire, something about, the compound of the 33. Luckily, I had a buddy who had brought an extra set with him, and I was like, man, I don't know about what the wipe on these things, and actually we ended up on somebody local said anything clear during the day, so definitely a solvent-based, like a AT2 or a Hot Lap 2 or something along those lines. A lot of solvent in it. Worked really well during the day, and then as soon as it got dark, anything red. So they wanted, like a Better and Goat Pea or Goat or something like that. Something, would have like possibly a transmission fluid-esque type of scenario to it. And we ended up on 50-50 Better and Goat Pea and Goat mixed. And man, what a world of difference. It was like I was shot out of a cannon. It was funny. That was Harold Wiggins had 2 carts there. And I ended up getting lapped by a Jawa. I was the very last cart lapped in that Grand National. I was on my little 125, just wringing its neck. And I got lapped with 2 laps to go by the Jawa. and Harrell's factory pilot behind the wheel. But yeah, that's absolutely. I have balanced my tires. I don't anymore, and it's not for any other reason than like my tire balancer. I still have it somewhere. I'd have to find all the parts to it, but I ran open for a very long time, and it's a good idea. You can't feel it in the open. It's so violent. They're so fast that even if I always thought that I did it for a little bit and I thought, boy, I don't know that it's a waste of time, but you just couldn't feel it. I could not feel a difference between a set that I did and a set that I didn't do because of the power. I can see it being a factor, balancing tires on a super fast track, bigger, type of thing where roll speed is key. Obviously you don't want a rim and tire that's doing this, but for the most part, if you got fairly new rims, they're fairly straight, new tires, they're, a lot of people cut their tires, and when you cut their tires, yeah. But back on the blue tire wash, yeah. The premise behind blue tire wash was that Randy Ransom, when he created it, was and he told me this, that people were using Simple Green and still do, and there's nothing wrong with Simple Green. They clean the tire, but there's chemicals in the Simple Green that will actually pull the prep work out of your tire that you've done. The blue tire wash, on the other hand, is cleaning the tire without affecting that prior prep work as much. Doesn't mean it doesn't affect it at all, but as much. But the DRT, the simple fact that it's drying the tire and getting everything clean, the reaction I think you're feeling is correct, because it's just making that there's nothing in between the two. You've got the tire super duper clean. Therefore, the prep is allowed to do what it was intended to do. So, yeah, 2 seconds a lap is, it was, I couldn't believe it. 2 seconds. I was like, oh, man. Look at this brookie. Okay. I don't know. Seems like jibber jabber to me. Steel Wagon Tempest V2 was awesome. I'm sure I have that do tires are so many guys that, yeah, that's I wasn't in a debate. Somebody that I obviously did the video on treads, and it wasn't their intent to, I don't think it was the intent that, I try and read every question that I have, every statement, comment or whatever, with an open mind of where they're coming from. They're obviously not, they weren't a fan of prep. I think there is a idea that, that I've done video on it before, that, prep's cheating and all you got to do is wipe. And it's just like, there is a science to prepping, to knowing, a Maxxis, do you want a 2-week tire, a 4-week tire, a 6-week tire, and that means the last time you rolled internally, how old that tire is, how, has it been run before? Has it been scuffed? And then when you get to the track, reading the track, what type of prep does it want? What doesn't? How many wipes? There is a true science to prepping. So it isn't just wipe, go, and let her rip. Sometimes that's the case, but usually not. The people who are really good at tires, the tire gurus, the people who have figured this out, they've just added an element to karting that separates them from the pack. It is, it's tough to overcome, but I think there not a lot of people, but there are some people that just believe that, just wipe the stuff on and you're fast. It's just like, yeah, but what stuff and when and how many wipes, and did you treat it before? How many weeks out? Did you cut the tire? Did you not cut the tire? Like I said with the Burris, did you flat cut them? Did you round cut them? There is it's a whole thing, like a whole big thing of tire knowledge that, it's just not buy a set of tires and wipe this magical stuff on it and then you go out and just lambaste everybody. even when you think you're pretty good with tires, like I think I'm fair with tires. Of all my years experience, there are people that are so much better than I am. Like so much better. Oh my goodness. It will it'll humble you quick when you think that you're really good at a tire and then somebody comes out and says, "Oh no." Like I would argue that my Vagan knowledge is better than my Burris or Maxxis by far. Burris are, I've always run them fairly straight up, so I haven't taken the time to really learn them, or not learn them, but I've never really had to do much to Burris. I don't internal prep them. The track I ran before, it didn't take much of anything. Read the track real quick. Hey, is it going to need a little more bite or a little less bite, and a wipe or two, and send it. A lot of times it was a wipe or two of Track Tack Orange. That's it, just to fire the tire off. That's all I did to the tires. Now, when it comes to Vegas, what I do to a Vega, I think I definitely have a leg up on not a lot of people. Some people, say in the state. Obviously, I haven't been on Vega Yellows in a lot of other states, but in this state, I think my experience with them is pretty good. And there was talk of a New York State, series coming back, and they were talking about doing a Vega Yellow as the tire, and I was just like, oh. Tires are good. Yeah, they're definitely. It's what connects you to the ground. That's what grips the track. That is certain. How much prep and how much what you. Yep, that absolutely. Other day, completely new to prepping. It is. I wouldn't, to people new to prepping, don't go crazy. Start off like, is it back there? Yeah, right there. PRW orange. Fire the tire off. See what it does before you get into the whole science of it and, internal prepping and this and that. Just see what a simple one prep system does. And then you can, wipe one wipe, two wipes. And then if you want something more aggressive than that, go with a AT2 hot lap, something like that, something a little more aggressive than that. And try a series of wipes to see what it does. Just going out and buying every prep you can find will make your head spin. It is very complicated, and you can ruin a tire or ruin your night so quickly by overdoing it. I get it, and that's why a lot of people hate it. I get why they want to go to treads. I get why they want to get away from it because it's complicated. I actually appreciate that. I've been in it for so long. I've been doing it for so long that it to show up to a track and not wipe is weird to me. I've done it a couple times, and it's 2 years ago is a no prep rule at Champion Speedway on Reapers, and it was the only thing I disagreed with was they said you couldn't wipe, you couldn't touch them, you couldn't touch them the entire time, and it's just like, hey man, give people practice to size to this or that, and then after that, once you hit the once you go out for the heat race, don't touch your tires. It's a dirty tire rule. It was interesting. I felt out of balance. I was like, I'm so used to wiping stuff that, man, this is crazy. Not how many. It's how many sets do you? Yeah, There's a lot of that too. You go from Maxxis world to the Burris world. That's a thing. You go in the trailer, pull out a new set, and hit the ground running type of thing. Can you go win with 4 tires? You can. I don't know what you're referencing there, but putting the right 4 on at the right time definitely is. Now, I will say this, I will caveat that with, if the balance of your cart is off, you might be Superman for a while. But if you're loading a certain tire too much during a run, you're overheating that tire, causing that tire to give up, even though you got a super set of tires on, at some point that might give. If the balance of the cart is off, they go hand in hand. Yes, 4 tires, people say it's just tires. Well, yes and no. You have to be, your cart has to have a decent balance. If you're way too hard on one tire, if you don't have enough left, if you have too much left, if you have too much VCG, if you're sitting up too right, you're getting too much rollover. This all has effect. You can have the best tires on the market there, in the tire guru with that set of tires all set up. But if you are not loading the cart properly, it is going to cause a tire failure. And I don't mean a blowout. I mean a failure in performance. If you superheat something and you get a restart and that tire is tired, pun intended, and it never refires because it's already gone through its cycle of prep and it got too hot or it never got hot enough, it can fail you, and the performance of the cart could suffer. You need a trailer full. Yeah, that some of the big races, you are not wrong. That's why I did not like prep game. Plus, I come from big car racing, slicks are meant to be asphalt. There's an argument to be made for that. Yeah, and that was the problem is once you allow them to wash them, what's in the water? That you got, if there's a way to cheat, people will find it. It's as simple as that. You can't. It's very tough, and even with this push for treads, there is going to be people that skirt the system. There are going to be people looking for an advantage. They're going to be doing certain things to tires that that ideally, and you can't do this to a Saturday night race or at a big race. It would be buy tires at the track, and then search every trailer, every this or that. Keep eyes on everybody. Do not touch your tires, type of thing. Washing them, you never know what's in that water. Like I said, Simple Green has some chemicals in it, and that will soften the tread. That's why you get that sticky sensation. It bites in it just the same as you use something like Purple Power. Purple Power has like an acid in it, and that will bite in. So then you're going to have to start, if you allow washing tires, you're going to have to start monitoring what's in people's water that they're washing the tire with. They're in short there, that's why prep is allowed in kart racing. People say, oh, it's the only form of racing that, they just look the other way. It's just because it's very expensive and very, very difficult to police. Unless you have super deep pockets as a track or a promoter or anything like that, it's very difficult to do that. You can tire sample, but it presents its own, set of circumstances, money-wise or time-wise or this or that. I mean, it'll set a precedent. If you are a promoter or a track and you say no prepping and you start, booting people because they cheated, it would clear up. But getting to that point, trying to monitor everybody and making sure that everybody stays, non-cheaty as possible. It's bigger than people. I made that post there. I just read a text from somebody. It got me off track there, but it's bigger than just saying no prep. Well, yeah. How do you enforce it? There's a bigger, it's a bigger thing. And yes, Bill, I did see that. Unfortunately, I left that group. No ill will, no mean, no nothing there. But I was just following the rules. Yeah, I won't get into it because I'm not starting drama. That's dumb. I just, a rule was made in a group that I was in. They asked for something, and I cannot, in good faith, I'm not going to do. I can't do that being in the position I'm in. So I was just like, it's all right. I appreciate it, and I understand why that happened. Everybody's like, what the heck are you talking about? All right, let's get back to the questions here. Fan of the dirty tire rule. Yeah, okay. Run prep treads, don't touch them all night. Nice. Yep. And there's also that thing, like you can, like I said in the video, you can have a Duro rule, you can have a depth rule. And that is a way to, let people do what they're going to do at home, but it's going to it'll make it easier on the promoter and the track. If you're just like, hey, here's the rules. You can do what you want to the tire, but you can't go any lower than this. You can't turn a tread into a slick, and yeah, the Duro rule, like, hey, man, it's got to punch 50. If we come around before you hit the track and we punch your tire and it says 48, don't go out. You're DQ'd for the night. And that in itself would be get people to really pay attention. Like, hey, let's not do this. As soon as you're on, yeah. Date coded, yep. You're gonna have, and that's everybody picking up. If say everything were to go to treads again, then it's going to be a date code thing. Your harder, faster tracks, you're gonna want a tire that's aged. That some of those oils have dissipated. It's not as gummy. There's no easy answer to anything. Everything comes with its own set of circumstances. Community wash station. Yeah, that's possible. Hey, you come over, you do this or that. Jesse, are you now prep sucks? The rules, tire rules cut costs. I used to disagree with that, but everything, like I said, is a caveat. But yes, to the people that open tire. Yeah, let the best tire win. I don't disagree. I come from UAS Racing. We are open tire. Run whatever you want, type of thing. But I went out to Nationals and I had 4 brands, multiple sets of 4 brands. It's tough. Which tire is going to be the fastest? And lots of people tried different tires. We had people on pinks. We had people on whites. We had people on Vega yellows. We had people try Burris. I knew some Reapers were out there. I don't know if they were tried. I took my Reapers with me. I didn't end up being on them. So locally, like Burris, the local track I run at, Burris is fantastic because it's going to be 11s or 33s. Now, how many sets you bring with you is up to you, type of thing. But yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. There's give and take. But yeah, it's open tires are not as cheap as everybody thinks they are. And again, I'll say it. When people say you have to take into account what part of the country they're in, when they say they want open tire, it means the guys want Maxxis back, in my opinion. They have a Reaper rule at certain tracks. They want their Maxxis back, and that's why they're saying open tire. They don't mean open tire. They mean they want their Maxxis back. I got no qualms with that. I want to be on the fastest tire possible as well. Chassis, are you on now? Prep sucks. Yeah. So I have 2 carts in my stable here now. I have a 2025, might as well be a 2026 because it was created not too long ago. I have a Shatter Blast that's sitting over here. Right there. And then in front of me that is torn to pieces because it's my open cart, aka my UAS, that is a 2022 Phantom Scythe. So I was on all Phantom since 2017. I did experiment a little with Ultramax, but I had been mostly on Phantom since 2017. But right now, the Shatter Blast is my clone cart, and then my open, aka UAS ride, is the Phantom. Depth reader, I'm gonna. Yeah, yep. The only problem with Duroing tires after they come off track is that they're all going to be soft. Now, I guess you would have to do some testing what a tire should look like off a track, because the hotter it gets, the softer it's going to get. You put a tire out in the sun, it gets soft. You put a tire on track and run it a whole bunch, it's going to be soft. That's why I said on the grid, if you start punching tires, Like you're going out, these better read this before you go out, and then afterwards, it's they're gonna do what they do. I hate prep. Shout out to my little buddy Charmin Soft. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's great. I This channel is sponsored by obviously Track Tech. There's no I've been with them since almost the inception of the company. I like prep. I am not as for a prep guy. I am not as anti prep as you think I would be. I said it in the video Sunday. Let's race. If you put bricks on there, let's race bricks. I don't care. I just love a good race. I love to race. I love people racing. I love watching races. All the things, all of it. Tire rule, no tire rule, whatever, man. Let's do the racing. As long as there's, here's a set of rules. Follow these set of rules. Let's go race. All right. Oh, I missed a whole lot of stuff here. I was chit-chatting. Why am I wearing a cap? Because it's cold in New York, and my skull's getting shinier and shinier. This is Smart Kart Notes. I've dabbled in it. It's super cool. I don't have a subscription. Yeah. I've dabbled in it, but Billy Zom, I have a hard time with pronouncing names, but it's super cool. If you don't want a notepad, it's real easy to do that. But there's if you subscribe to Smart Kart Notes, there's a whole bunch of parameters in there. You can fill in your tires, this or that, lap times. What was it just something digitally to recall on your phone. Pretty cool. With the clones, tires need to be yep. Maxxis T40 punching 45. No heating. They check on the grid. Yeah. Man, I haven't seen tire on a separate note there. I haven't seen tire warmers in a long time. Then again, I haven't raced in the cold months in a while. Those Chicken Hawk tire warmers, that always used to be a thing. People used to put them in the hot box, and the only problem with the hot box to warm the tires is you heat the rim too. So the heat retention changes from, just heating the surface of a tire. I mean, you're still going to get, air excites, it expands, but you would heat a tire, you go up to the grid, you'd set your pressure and, send it. But with if you heat the entire tire and rim in a hot box before you go out, that aluminum, although it will cool pretty quick, probably faster than the tire will, you have to compensate for that and know that metal is going to retain some heat and actually increase your pressure as well. Just some thoughts to think about if you're going to do that. Treads need duro with cold. Yeah, I don't disagree. That's a way to keep that in check. I like racing dirt with it. Yeah, I've never ever. I haven't raced treads since 2006. 2007, somewhere in there. My cart never. I'm not saying it wouldn't work now. I was on a 99 Coyote Thrasher, and it was inconsistent. Couldn't keep the staggers, but it was not the tire's fault. It was my inexperience fault. I mean, I started in 2002, so 2006, I had only been racing 4 years. Maybe it's 2007 I got rid of them, somewhere in there. But regardless, I didn't have the knowledge I have now, nor did, no experience, this and that. So I just didn't particularly like them. I always liked slicks better. Open air needs to be in the upper classes. Yeah, that's like at John's, at AMS, they're open class. It's a Burris track. They're open class. The Unlimiteds, UAS, they go by UAS rules, so it is open tire. You can run the fastest tires I've seen at that track were Value Yellows, and now Maxxis Whites do pretty good too. Hey, what's going on? Arkansas. Oh, my vision's a little goofy there. What happened to Recon? I sold it. And the only reason, there was nothing particularly wrong with Recon. I actually preferred the UAS ride. on the Scythe, for whatever reason, it just suits the way I drive a little better. And the Recon was a 16, and that's a 22. When I got the Shatter, I don't need 3 carts in here. If I'm gonna, I got 2 clone engines. If I'm not gonna change carts when let's say an engine goes south or something. I'm just gonna change engines. So I wanted to give my full experience, my full attention in the clone world to the Shatter. Yeah, nothing wrong with the cart. It's local now. It's within an hour and a half of here. He's going to be racing AMS with it. But I didn't need it, and it was an older cart, so I decided that one needed to go. And so now I have a 2022 and a 2025. Nothing cheap about kart racing. It started with clones and went to the... Yeah, there. Yeah, anything can be expensive. Matter of fact, I was listening to Four Takes and Fuel, and oh shoot, what was the guy's name? Tommy Bowder. Who was that? Bowder? Again with the names, but he was talking about how he likes, what his side thing is, what he does when he doesn't race. He likes to race RC cars. And I didn't know this, that some of that stuff you can get up into the $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 range for an RC car. I'm like, yo. If it's out there, you can spend money on it. I come from the beard world. This is, where I learned to interface with people and be on camera and all that. And people have thousands of dollars in beard oils and beard products. You find something you're into, and you can just, it's unlimited. What you can do with it, your passion can be. And I think it's awesome. I think, as men, as females, as anybody, you need passion. And if you find something you're into, as long as it's not drugs, do it. If it's not bankrupting you, if you can still have your family, your life, you're intact, then do what you love. And if it's, you pick one thing like racing, like anything, you can do it. Just, keep things in, don't, if you're going hungry, don't buy tires. Stupid. We're all for stupid racing. I'm totally happy to be. Yep. You can see my reflection in that cue. Yeah, I know, right? It wasn't too long ago. I still had hair. Oh, geez. Was it 5 years ago? There's a picture from, I was showing my wife or something, and she's just like, look, you still had hair. I'm like, yeah, for some reason, man. Like, I hit like 45, mid-40s, and all of a sudden it was just like, it slipped off here, and it fell on my back. Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. Do what you love and love what you... Yeah, absolutely. I am a very passionate person about... not quite a few things, but there are some things I delve a lot of my attention into, and those things that I care about, I really care about. Family first. That's my racing suffers because of my family, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with RV trips with my family and going to the amusement park. And even though my kids are a little older, we still do what we call family fun days, and it might be there. We call it city trip. It's 45 minutes. It's not really, it's outskirts of a city, Henrietta, New York. But the four of us, the core four, Debbie, Ethan, and Zoe and myself will go up, and we'll go get something to eat. And we'll go to Famous Footwear, and we'll go to Target. It's a family fun day. We go out and we hang out. It's something as simple as that. Going to dinner, and I say my racing suffers, like I said, and I'm perfectly fine with it. That is, my family comes first, and then, shortly behind that is racing and all this, and it's okay to split those two, but family first always. That's I know that's, probably easy pickings there for me to say in the way it should be, but very passionate about that. That's love my family. Super easy to say, but yeah. I think Sunday, what's 15? Oh yeah, we're getting to the end of the stream here. Sunday, unless I change my mind, it is going to be a prep video. I haven't done a video on tire prep, and we're speaking about that. I think I kind of wanted to counteract I'm fully on board with treads, and I'm fully on board with these classes coming up and everything. And obviously, I explained that, and we discussed a little bit tonight. But I haven't done a prep video in a while. I also have to do the Reaper prep video eventually here. I'll probably do that over the winter. My experience with it, first off, what it's intended for, and get into that a little bit. What I believe, we'll talk about. I'll talk about Reapers a little bit, but not this Sunday. This Sunday is going to be, even though I run Track Tack, there's a prep that I always have with me, and for good reason, because it works. And kind of posing the question, like, even if you run whatever, you're a diehard fan of whatever prep line that you're running, what is it that doesn't leave your trailer? What is it if you're running A, B, C, or D? Is black sand something that you always carry? Is goat something you always carry? That type of scenario. I think it was Prater and Son. He did he put out a question just in text on Facebook, and it was essentially that. And I'm like, hey man, you stole my question. I had that written down in my notes as doing a video, and I'm like, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not hurting him. That had some responses to it and everything, but I was just like that. Now I got to do the video because I can't let him steal that from me, which he's not. Yeah, it doesn't suffer. My family, they love me. They love that I do this, that I'm passionate about it. They know how much I put into this. They're just not really racy people. My wife hasn't been to a race in like 2 years. Now, I will say that is because of my dog. If you've never seen my Facebook or anything, Norman is he has IVD. Anyway, he had a herniated disc. He had operation, very expensive. There wasn't an option to put him down. He is part of our family. He's 9 years old now. He has a wheelchair. He drags his butt around. He poops all over the floor. I love him to no end. But it makes travel difficult. It makes going to the races difficult. He has his own bag. He has diapers. He has this. He has that. It's just it's a lot to expect her, because I'm a social butterfly when I'm not prepping the cart, when I'm at the track, and I have a hard enough time staying at home base at the track. And then, having my wife be dedicated to taking care of him as well. It's very tough. If we could afford it, we would get a motorhome. Tow my little trailer behind that, and then she'd have that to be in, type of thing, which would make life a lot easier. She could just chill out in the motorhome, and I could do my racing thing and pop in, and it'd be super. But like my boss bought one. I know they're not, older ones aren't they expensive, but it's $100 and some odd thousand he spent on it. So I was like, oh, that's out of that's not happening. And towing the art, I can't carry along a cart with the RV I currently have. It just, I wouldn't have everything I need. It poses so many, I don't get mad about it. That's why I have the electric cart lift. I make myself self-efficient, that they don't have to go along. My son or daughter haven't been to a race in eons. They support me, but it's just not a thing for them. They don't enjoy being dirty and all that stuff. But yeah, that's why we go camping too, is spend time with the people. Yeah, yep, absolutely. The Northeast Divisional race was at Hunterstown this year for UAS. I would have loved to gone. We happened to be camping for the last time this year. And I had a blast with my family. I didn't miss racing. Now, would I have loved to gone to that race? Would I have loved to see my kart racing family? Absolutely. But they my kart racing family, unfortunately, does not trump my actual family. And it rained. It was cold. You would think it would be miserable, but I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else. It was a blast. Gator Bite, always have it in my... Yeah, absolutely. And some people like Gator Bite. I haven't heard that one in a while. But Wintergreen, Yeah, I remember that prep. Somebody said that. They were just like, oh, wintergreen. I was like, what? That's a blast from the past. Wow. I, not a racing person, but she allows me to do it. Yeah, yep. That's I love Debbie. I love that she's and anything that run it past her. But I talk about the channel. I talk about my interactions, my comments, this and that with her, and she's engaged with me. She doesn't understand a lick of it, but she loves that I'm passionate about it, and she supports me being that way. Yeah, one man cart stand. Yeah, absolutely. The only downside to it is the size and how much room they take up. The streeter stand, which the Thrasher's on. Now I will say this: the past couple of races I was at, Nationals and then Dreamfield, my buddy Doug was along with me, and he helped me not only wash tires but helped me. I just took the streeter stand and up and down was easy peasy with somebody there. I rarely have help at the track. It's usually I'm a one man band type of deal. Doug really super helped the past couple, and he said that I think I don't want to say stuck on days, but his job, he says, for the next year or close to a year, he thinks he's going to be on first shift. So with weekends off, so that means I might have some help going to the track some more next year, which is awesome. It really made things not only having one of my best friends there. And Jamie went too. I don't want to forget Jamie. Jamie went out to Iowa with us, but having somebody, wash my tires and somebody to chat with and talk about stuff, they don't understand a lick about it either, but fun to, do what I do here and have that conversation is great. Have you ever had a lawnmower fire backwards? No. I do have a little story. I've never had that, but Buddy Beef there, Eric Grice, had a wankle, and it cracked his skull. So the rotor, yeah, the rotor came apart on the crank of a wankle. A wankle is a rotary engine, if you don't know what a wankle is. But he had one of those. He was in his garage and he was revving it up, and the rotor broke apart, and a chunk of it hit him like dead center and cracked his skull. Put him in the hospital quite a while, and it took a long recovery. That unfortunately, racing's dangerous even when you're at home, doing stuff like that. But yeah, no, I never had a lawnmower actually. I got a zero turn. It's behind me. If it comes apart, hopefully I'm okay. We met the happy. Yeah, he is a happy puppy. People love Norman. He is a sweetie. He hasn't bit anybody but Ethan and myself, and it's because we were antagonizing him, and it was a long time ago. But we took him out on Halloween, and we had a spider costume on him, and everybody's, oh my God, he's so cute, and this and that, and little kids are come up and patting him, and not a mean bone in his body, unless of course the boy or I are antagonizing him. He's bit me before, but not in like a malicious way. Just like, hey, that's my, what was it? It's a pig's ear he had one time, and I tried to take out his mouth, and he was mad about that. You laugh like Polly from The Sopranos. That's you guys will never meet my dad or my uncle Matt. Matt is the closest to me in age, but my dad and I sound very similar. And the way we laugh is absolutely, the three of us, absolutely similar. Yep. That's, yep. Size does make a difference. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially with a 4x8 trailer. I kind of wish I had my 6x12 back. I could tip one up on its end if I wanted to bring a secondary. And back when it was UAS, I used to do that. Just a chassis in case something went wrong. That used to be up against the front of it, and then I'd roll my cart stand and cart in there and lock everything down. That was cool. The 4x8, I can take two carts, and I did this summer once. I threw the clone on the back of the truck, and then the open in the trailer. It's just difficult. Is there any proof in oil that does not work? Splash. Second motor scorer rod using top brand. Oh, yeah. They, I haven't done anything on oils. I don't know too much about it. I run Dyno K oil, and I'm not protest to any other oil. I've heard people run AMS oil. I've heard people run, even oh shoot, drawing a blank. I hate that I'm drawing a blank on it. I want to say it's 54R or something like that. I will think of it. Anyway, I've heard people run thicker oils. The basic premise is you want to run as thin an oil as possible that has superior lubrication. Yeah, FHS. There. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bill. I would run FHS, I met the gentleman that runs that, and what a super dude. Super nice guy, nice to chat with. I hope he's at JC Specialties this year. A little thing going into this year. I reached out to Cliff and I said, if everybody's on board there, and maybe some people don't want to talk or anything, but I have a 2-mic system with this. With what I use here, and I think my intent is to go down to JC Specialties Open House, and they have the vendors there. 5.3 Titanium will probably be there. FHS, I hope will be there, and I want to give them a mic and kind of interview them for a video. I think it'll really do pretty good, and a promotional for them guys. Obviously, content for the channel. I think it'll be really cool if I can get. I'm sure not everybody's going to be super comfortable with doing that. But, I'll try. I think it'll be really cool. But, yeah, the FHS oil, I just don't know enough about clone motors to, or flatheads or anything like that for that matter, for me to speak on what could be a failure point, what is this and that. I just know that oils, you want the lightest oil possible that offers max protection. And I think, there's a bunch of them. That do really well. Like I said, I run Dyno K, but that's just because my motor builder recommended it. I run FHS in a heartbeat if I ever wanted to switch. But yeah, I got to get off here pretty soon here, guys. It's well over an hour, but okay. I went racing without my son last year too, even though it was still fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. My son never bit onto it. Daytona 1 has developed a car down. It was amazing. Daytona 1 goal. Nice. Yep. I remember you talking about that, Alan. Yeah. I don't have a preference. Even in 2-stroke stuff, like I've been a Blendzall guy for the longest time, and it's really good stuff. Blendzall Green Label caster. It's one of the industry standards. But I will say this, that I tried Redline for alcohol for my 2-stroke, and Redline is pretty rad stuff. I'm curious what, Redline would have to, synthetic oil would have to offer in the clone world, light enough stuff. But yeah. Yeah, best oil is correct. Yeah, it's literally the lifeblood of your engine. That's as much as your body doesn't, won't function without blood. An engine will not run without oil. Be really cool. Yeah, I agree. It just popped into my head. I was like, man, I got 2 mics. I bet you I can make this work. And I told Cliff at JC about it. He's like, dude, that'd be rad. And I'm like, I hope so. Good idea. Yeah. Good night to you, sir. Yeah, I will take that comment right there and go with getting off here. I really appreciate you guys coming by. Like I said, Sunday will be, what prep do you always have on board? I believe that's the topic I'm going to go with. And we can talk about that a little bit. But thank you very much, guys, for stopping by. I really appreciate you every Thursday. It's great. I love interacting with you guys. Obviously, I'm a chatty Cathy. That's hello, as I'm just getting off here. I really appreciate, you interacting with you guys. It's super fun for me every Thursday. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, it's Thursday, but then I get on here, I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. So, all right, I'll see you all later and watch video Sunday. Yeah. Bye.